So let's start. So thank you for joining this webinar. My name is William. I'm the COO of Wakeo, multimodal track and trace solution, and hosting the webinar today. So I'm thrilled to be with Lionel and Eric. And before we introduce the two speakers, let's put some guidelines on the table. So attendees are in the mute mode, and we will have a 15-minute Q&A at the end of the talk. And indeed, please feel free on the attendees part to drop any question in the question section within the live storm on the right side of the screen. And you can also put some comments in the chat, also in the right side of the screen. So today we have two great speakers. I will be the one moderating and animating this webinar. We have Eric Johnson, director at S&P Global and senior technology editor at GOC.com. And we have Lionel Tristan, managing director at Fracht France and board member of Fracht Worldwide. You know, when we were discussing with Eric and Lionel a few weeks ago while preparing this meeting, we say, okay, maybe we need to do a webinar to share our common experiences, some point of view on how digitalization will shape, the freight forwarding industry today. Why? We can ask why this topic. We see a lot of movements, a lot of consolidations in the market. Bolloré has been acquired by CMS CGM, cargo partners by Nippon Express, and so on. And we also see carriers that want also some piece of the cakes. This is how it works. So freight forwarders have to differentiate and create new value proposition and competitive advantages by leveraging more data to create information and help customers to take some decisions. Whatever, doesn't matter the size of the freight forwarders at the end, the size of the company, they must enter in this new journey, And I remember when we were discussing with Eric, and maybe that's the first question that I will raise to Eric. Eric, from your point of view, what are the main biggest challenges to tackle on freight forwarder side, to address this kind of digital journey? Is it like being much more efficient on the operational side, being much more customer centric, and bring much more customer experience at the end? What is your thought on that part?
Yeah, so I think of the market in one way. You as a forwarder, you have two essential areas that you can invest in your business. You can invest in some way that you're interacting with your customers, or you can invest in a way that is driving operational improvement or efficiency internally, right? Some of those investments cross over both sides of that decision, but most often you're actually deciding to invest in one side or the other. And I think for decades, forwarders really focused first and foremost on operational efficiency with their technology investments. Over the last 10 years, that changed a lot. The onus was on interacting with customers in a more user-friendly way, engaging customers in new ways, potentially driving new sources of business through technological engagement. Which was a major difference in the industry. So now there are two ways you can kind of channel that investment. And the big question now is, what's the more important sort of side to invest? I look at it now from the market that we're in right now, very different than it's been over the last 2 to 3 years. Rates have come down, demand is down, forwarders are fighting for business in a way that they weren't during the pandemic, but in a way that they have traditionally had to fight for business. So I think that onus is going to be on becoming as operationally efficient as they possibly can, while also figuring out how those investments can percolate up into serving customers in the way that they normally do. Right? I mean, this is always still a relationship and personalized business where customers want interaction with their service providers. They don't want a purely digital interaction. So what are the ways that forwarders can invest in such a way that their services are available in a digital format, but it's not a purely digital format? I don't know many shippers who want that purely digital experience.
Yeah. Okay. I see the point. So it's could address a mix of both at the end, because I know that TMS was the first one key aspect to address. Later in the past, still the case, huh, to be frank, but to have like the right central, IT system to manage day-to-day operations, customs, documentations, compliancy, and so on. And but those kind of players, it's not customer centric, at the end. So you need to deliver the information with a different layout, I would say. So this is why I think the market is also moving to build much more nice and user-friendly platform to deliver the kind of information to the end customers with a customer portal, for instance, with API, because at the end of the day, when we talk with customers, and maybe Lionel, you can testimony as well, they want to get the information through the customer portal, through their alert emails, but also through API, and they want to get to be very uh, um, interfaces to get some interfaces between their 3PLs and also the customers at the end, IT system to manage day-to-day MRP, stock visualization, and so on.
Yeah, I can speak about the experience of Fracht as a worldwide freight forwarders, and the main challenges that we are facing, I think, is first the quality of the data, because the information is coming always from the data that are entered by our operations, and we are as strong as the weaker link of our company. So this is really important to focus on the quality of the data. So at Fract, what we did, we have our TMS also, and we are really building a strategy to educate our people to enter the data properly in the system, because those data will give the quality of our customer portal that we are giving to our customers. So this is one of the biggest challenge, and this challenge is even more important because now the customers wants data in real time. So this is something that we need to take in account, and for particularly for track and trace, there are some data that we cannot follow directly in the TMS. We need some support from operators like Wakeo, for instance. Another challenge for me also is the cost, because the investments in IT has really tremendously increased the last 10 years. And this is not easy always for a freight forwarding company like us to value this cost in our selling. So this is something that we need also to educate our sales guy to explain our customer the added value on this customer portal and those data, the ways they are analyzed. So for me, these are at least two main challenges that we can face as a freight forwarding company.
That's interesting. And so no matter the kind of digital journey you enter at the end, you need that proper data, accurate data with the lowest latency, with the maximum quality. And you also need to mitigate the risk of having too much cost. And it's always like a logic make or buy also, I think, on the background.
Yes.
Do you need to make on your own in-house and so on? Or do you need to have like take something out of the market and build your own ecosystem at the end? Take with the puzzles, take the best players and then build your own services. But I think at the end, before mitigating the risk, it's also something that it's a matter of having the right vision. Where do you want to go before entering in this digital journey? Before like going to the different points that Lionel explained, I think it's a matter of leadership, because at the end of the day, when I talk to you, Lionel, and Eric, you can have like the vision, but it should be like step by step, because no one fits all at the end. So you need to take one digital journey, one step, and then to build your own digital journey and to think about all the risks that you will get with the knowledge that you have and with the best players that you can get out of the market. So, Eric, what is the best advice on your side when you enter this digital journey? Indeed, Lionel explained the data quality and so on, but before going to the details, I would say.
You make a great point, and I think it fits in with my answer about the differentiation in the market, right? There are so many forwarders, so many different types of 3PLs that a shipper could turn to in any given scenario. And so how does a forwarder sort of, stand out from a very competitive landscape? And how do you, and to the point of what we're discussing today, how do you use technology to make you stand out? So I think first you need to examine where you are in the market. What is the segment of the market you're looking at? Industry, vertical, size of shipper that you were trying to serve, types of modes you need to secure capacity by. That's the first indication of what type of technology you need to support both your carrier partnerships as well as your customers. And then at that point, that should help you sort of narrow down the list of areas that you want to invest money into. You cannot, on day one, solve all of your digital problems through a single system. No company has the ability to invest in 10 different things at the same time and bring them all online at the same time. So you really need to set up a priority list of where you are either struggling right now and you need to improve, or an area of strength that you want to amplify through more technology to enable services that you are already providing to customers. And once you make that priority list, that is going to help you research the market to find solutions that are relevant to those problem areas, because it's a positive thing. It's a blessing and a curse, the market right now. There are a huge number of technology providers in every single category. So it's great. You have a lot of choice. It's a super competitive market for the forwarder as a consumer, but it's also very difficult to navigate that market, to know what is the right solution for any given problem. So it all sort of starts internally in doing a really deep exercise of understanding what you are as a company and where you need to invest, and also where you don't need to invest. You may not need to invest in something that you're reading about in the Journal of Commerce because you are already strong in that area, or your customers are not looking for that specific thing. And the one thing I'll sort of end my thought on this is you've both mentioned data quality. Everything sort of builds from data quality. It doesn't matter the solution that you pick if the data that is going into it or is being generated by that solution is not of a high quality. So every single, whatever your priority is, and maybe the priority is just improve data quality and you turn to a provider that helps you with that specifically, but that has to be a part of the consideration.
Yeah. So what you said, it's first you need to assess what are your business requirements and what kind of key priorities you need to address. Maybe it's operational efficiency, maybe it's customer experience, maybe it's both, maybe at the end it's both. But sometimes I know, and when I was discussing when I first met Lionel, sometimes it's driven by the customers,
right.
Yeah, and I mean the first priority, and I know it's an IT discussion, but the first priority is our employees, our people, the human relation first. And then once we have done this good recruitment, and once we have the good people in our company, then we can work out on the quality of the data. And what makes the difference will be the innovative solutions that we can offer to the customers. It comes also by the transport solution, and then by the connected solutions. So these are the 2 points. And once we go to the connected solutions, then we reach to the customer portal and all this application that we can link to our business.
William, let me just say one thing also. I think there's been a lot of focus from forwarders on serving customers well. One of the areas that I think is really important to not overlook is one way to serve your customers well without creating a digital sort of interface with them is to have extremely good connectivity to the forwarder's providers, right? So if you have excellent rate and milestone connectivity and schedule connectivity to all the carriers, and you are really connected on the well in road and rail, you don't necessarily need an amazing interface with your customers if you're really well connected digitally to your partners, and then you can serve your customers better that way. So you can't think of a digital investment as only something that is helping you interface directly with the customer.
Yeah, but I think maybe it's also time to present and introduce the Fracht business case. But I think today when you look at the TMS, they're the experts in the operational part, and sometimes to leverage this data is quite complex in terms of UI UX for end customers. So you need to have some a bridge to the customers to provide them the data they deserve. So I think this is why I always differentiate the TMS as being like the central piece of all operations, and the customer portal being like the link with the customers. And then with the data that you generate on the background, you can create new value proposition, because this is what we were discussing so far. It's you need to differentiate yourself against the competitors, because you see that the market is consolidating. Even small or medium-sized freight forwarding are moving to this journey. It's not a matter of being big or not to have this kind of investment. Sometimes it's very simple. You put a middleware, you connect with the TMS, and you have like a customer portal to release the information. So I think this is the interesting part from Lionel. Lionel, why did you decide to move to this digital journey by, as a first step, having like a customer portal and driving visibility for your customers?
Well, as you said, this is to give them more visibility in real time. And I think Eric said it in one of his paper. I mean, now what they want is not only to know where is the cargo in the middle of the sea. They want to know when they will get their cargo themselves delivered. And for this, you need to have added value to your service, and you need to be proactive and not only reactive to the questions, in fact. So also the customers now, they need also to have all the KPI, all the financial KPI, all the volume KPI, all the cost analysis, the document management. Is coming now the CO2 calculation, which is kind of compulsory in France, not in all countries, but I mean, anyway, even not compulsory, this is something very important now for every company. And all this information are really needed and requested by our customers at different level, depending the customers, of course. The customers that are doing few shipments are less demanding and prefer the contact, the phone contact. But the ones that are moving a lot of volumes, they need to have a quick access to all those data, very accurate data.
Okay, and today, Lionel, when you release this kind of things to your customers, do you see like improvement in customer satisfaction when you animate the business review with the commercial team and them?
Yeah, once this is also a sales tool. I mean, once you have a good customer portal, once the customer is used to it, it's like now if someone would say, okay, now you don't use Windows anymore, you're gonna use Windex, I don't know, and everybody will say, oh no, I mean, I don't want to change and I don't want to change it. So I mean, this is also a way to keep your customer, and one additional way to keep your customer, providing also you're giving a good service, of course, because he's used to get those information in a certain format, and also having accurate information. So yeah, that's a tool for the customer, and that's also a tool for the relation with the customer.
Okay. And Eric, on your side, do you see I know that you are doing a lot of interviews with freight forwarders. When they first enter in this digital journey, this is the first step, having this customer portal, having this kind of selling the data, not selling the data, but bringing data to the attention of the customers. Is it something that they pay for, or they make it pay for to the customers?
So this is a very interesting question, and I think it's good to have a historical perspective on where this has gone over the last, say, 5 years. So if I think about conversations that I had with shippers pre-pandemic, a lot of the shippers had this perspective on how to pay for the better data that they knew they needed. They were willing to pay for it to a certain degree over a certain amount of time until they, had incorporated that into their sort of operational processes. They were willing to pay for it as a standalone sort of service. But I think all of them, this is now, I'm going back to 2019, these conversations. They said, over time, I don't necessarily want to pay separately for this. I believe this is something that should either be bundled into the TMS that I run or bundled into my service that my 3PL is offering me, right? This should be part of what they offer me, and I pay them well for it. But I'm not paying for my 3PL and then separately for visibility. During the pandemic, all of that went out the window because you saw demand individually from shippers go, much higher because they were really sort of lost in a lot of cases about where their inventory was at any given moment. I think now that things have sort of settled down from a demand perspective, I see things starting to swing back to this idea that no, I expect better data quality and better completeness than I ever did before. But I would love to see that as be part of the service that a 3PL offers me, or part of the service that bundled in with the TMS that I'm using as well, rather than this standalone system and standalone cost. So there isn't some appetite for paying for this, but it's not, no shipper wants to pay a huge amount for something that sort of stands alone from other things that they absolutely have to pay for.
Yeah.
That's the way
you need to be innovative. That's what makes the difference. Yeah.
They won't pay for the data. They will pay for the service.
Yes.
Yeah. At the end, if you leverage the data, I think, let's take an example. You have very accurate unloaded, gate out, empty container return. That's the one that you need, to calculate the detention and demurrage. You can create a new service. You can say, okay, my customers, I will take care of your detention demurrage extra cost. I will monitor based on your agreements that we have with the ports as well as the shipping lines that you will spend 7 days. But as you can see, you spend like 10 days. I will negotiate on your behalf with the shipping company or with the port authorities to make having like a premium D&D, and you will pay like an extra fees, but it's not like every time,
That's
this
a
is what
business
they will
case.
pay for. Yeah.
That's a business case. So what happens if Lionel can say, next time we go to negotiate, I know that you never go beyond 2 days past your allotted free time, right? So how does that impact the rates that we can negotiate together with carriers, right? I mean, if you have that data, it's not just about where a box is at any given moment or about a fee that's generated from that specific box, but it can support much bigger strategic sort of procurement concerns as well.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I imagine. Yeah, sorry, Lionel, go ahead.
No, it's easy to show the customer and to ask the customer to pay when he sees the benefit of it directly on his portfolio, and that's for sure.
Yeah, because we were talking about having the for example some ETA chain and so on, and I was talking about having API with ERP directly on the shipper side. Because if you have the delivery notes with the right data quality, this is maybe another topic that we'll talk later with Lionel and you, Eric. then you provide to the ERP of your customers that link to these delivery notes, that is stuff inside, the different materials, the different goods and so on. And you have like the new ETA with the right accuracy in terms of anticipation, then they can forecast the stock, and I think this is what will make freight forwarders different tomorrow. Because today, some freight forwarders are doing some generic EDI, just transmitting the data, but not having, in mind the business case, what is behind, the usage of this data. And you did it. You said something right, Eric. You need to think about the business case. You think about where you bring the value, and sometimes it will fit to 100 of your customers. Sometimes one of your best customers is quite different in terms of expectations, requirements, and you need to fine tune it. And it's always, I think, from my point of view, it's always a logic of, can you address it on your own? Can you address with some other players to build this kind of different piece of the cake? And maybe, Lionel, you can, I think, introduce what you did, because this is clearly what you had in terms of vision. It's step by step. First is the customer portal, and then maybe later on you will connect with different solutions to, I don't know, help on the purchase orders, to help on
Yes,
the
exactly.
different
That's
kind of
what
things.
Kevin wrote on the chat. I mean, only the tracking, of course, must be free, because anybody anywhere can have it for free if you go to the shipping line website or anywhere. So yeah, this is not an added value now to just give a track and trace system. What could be an added value is to do a predicted like is doing Wakeo, ETA or ETD. But we must innovate, and as you said, Eric, the differentiation will be done if you find new tools and new product to offer on those customer portal. The financial KPI, volumes, track and trace. The cost analysis is really something important for the customers, particularly for the 4PL customers, but also for the 3PL, because then they can see where they can make economies. The document management also is important. Yes, and this is the customer portal we have built with Wakeo. But the most important is all the additional service that we will provide to our customer, that we make the difference. We can speak about, for instance, about the environment. We can offer our customers the possibility to participate to a biofuel buying for a greener transport. Also, we can offer greener routes if we know better about a vessel, how it's moving, what is the fuel it's using. All these are additional information that are very important for the customers. I think we have new routes in the world that are created now in the north through Russia, for instance. Those routes will have also to be examined and proposed to our customer, and then we can talk about cost. But it's not even a discussion, because the customer will see the advantage at the end.
And in terms of vision versus the IT ecosystem that you build to have like a scalable solution, can you explain a bit? How does it work?
The vision about what? Sorry, excuse me, William.
Today it's not only a customer portal, because some of the attendees mentioned, is it like the TMS, like reflecting the data from into your Fracht portal, or is it like you have the TMS communicating with a middleware and then populating?
We have our TMS, and we have also created what we call Fracht Connect. This is where we are downloading all our data from all our countries and all various data, in fact, and this is also in this Fracht Connect warehouse of data, where we are checking the quality of our data before distributed to our various application. And this is distributed also for Wakeo. This is distributed for all other applications that we can provide to our customers, and this is what gives the added value to our customers at the end.
Okay, because you know that maybe tomorrow you will have some specific demand, and it could help you to have like to connect to someone else, I would say, in terms of solutions.
Yeah.
And to build maybe another portal where I don't know if tomorrow you will go to the 4PL modes, maybe you want to have like orchestration, PO management, different kind of things. Okay, Eric.
Yeah, and this is also, as I said, this is the human part is the most important asset for a company like us, and then we have our datas. So we are taking care of both, and we are really using those datas as a tool, as an asset.
Mm-hmm. Eric, do you see a lot of forwarders having this kind of IT architecture, I would say?
Seeing a lot of these IT, what?
So the middleware things like, the TMS is one piece of the cake.
Yeah.
Then you have the middlewares connecting to different services, and then showing the right information and the right app, I will say, to the customers or even to other kind of department inside the freight forwarding company.
Yeah, I think every forwarder, there's probably not been enough credit given to existing forwarders in terms of how much they've sort of re-examined their businesses. And also, I think there's not been enough acknowledgement of how much enabling technology has been created over the last decade to help forwarders kind of, on that journey. There's definitely some very interesting middleware integration sort of specialist software that helps a forwarder take interesting data that they're able to collect internally or partnering with someone like Wakeo and then amplifying that in a way to their customers, or actually amplifying is probably not the right way to say it, curating it in a way that is meaningful to their customers. So yeah, it's sort of all out there. And this gets back to what I said before. I think narrowing down what it is you're actually trying to do, and you've sort of called it having a vision for what you're trying to do, and then finding the right channel to help get what your customer needs to them. That's a challenge, but there are lots of ways to sort of meet that challenge nowadays. So yeah, definitely. I don't know. Let's put it this way. I've not had a conversation with a forwarder who is blind to this reality anymore. Maybe they haven't invested yet, but everybody is very aware of the challenge.
Yeah, and you were asking me last time, William, about the digital freight forwarders. If I was believing in this model, this is one of the model, I think, but it cannot be the only model. It will suit to some business, and it will not work with other business. So
because you need expertise.
Yeah, you need an expertise. You need so for regular and easy business, I would say even big volume business, it can work. And even some shipping lines are already working like that. But it works for really big and regular business. But even on big business, I mean, we are now working with a brand of I don't know if I can say the brand, but I mean they are selling soft drinks, and their logo is red. And I mean, we didn't think that it could be possible, but at the end, they have massive volumes worldwide. But at the end, they came to us because we found them solutions during the COVID, and I mean, we the dog wants to talk too. And thanks to those solutions during the COVID, I mean, they saw that we had a real added value not only on the IT. And also about the digital freight forwarding, I think it depends of the maturity of the market and also the geographical situation of the transport.
Okay, so maybe before moving to the different risks that we identify when entering in this digital journey, we talk about some of them. Let's recap what we discussed so far. So this new digital journey or these new things to be addressed by freight forwarders, first, what needs to be done? Having a vision. The vision is clear. It's to know which are the biggest challenge to address. First is like customer. It's like operations. So this is one of the key things to think before moving to this journey. This is what I learned from you guys, Lionel and Eric. Building proper business case, because at the end you can address this challenge for one or two customers, 100. Maybe at the end no one fits all. So you need to have also some specific, I would say, business case, and maybe to build your journey step by step. Maybe you will address 80% of the business requirement first with a bunch of customers and a bunch of employees, and then the 20%, which is always the biggest part to handle with the long journey, it will be addressed step by step, starting with the bigger customers or the biggest gross margin and so on.
Yep.
To do so, you need to build, to use your TMS as a central piece, for operations, compliance, customs, and so on. And this TMS is not the one that should communicate directly with the customers of different solutions. You should build a middleware to connect the dots between the TMS, the customer portal, track and trace solutions, and also to provide data to your end customers, feeding by the ERP, feeding by their TMS to provide ETA to forecast stock and so on, and to be very linked, paired with this, with the different customers that you have. Indeed, you need to hire the right experts. This is what Lionel told us, because expertise is key in this domain, I would say, because data is data, and what you need is information at the end. So you need to translate what the data is bringing to you. ETA with delays, that's cool, knowing that this container is having like 10 days of delays. But if Fracht knows that inside this box, that's the new customers with the red logo on the background, with the new having a new customers, a new end customers at the end, delivering the stock because these are running out of stock. So when you know that, you can anticipate as Fracht, and you can check out alternative routing, organize, transshipment to deliver quickly the goods, or maybe find some backup with other customers that will be delivered. So that's key, I think. That's what we discussed. But in this journey, nothing will be easy. To be frank, data quality. I think this is always, to be frank, when we enter at Wakeo, we are a digital player also in the track and trace industry. So we need some key requirements, data requirements, to enable the track and trace. But we see that sometimes freight forwarders are struggling, to have like the right information at the right moment with the right accuracy, because sometimes they are working with local agents which are not connecting to their systems. So, guys, how do you see it? How can we mitigate this risk? That's a tricky question. Huh? It's a $1 million question.
Or more.
More, okay.
Go on, Eric.
So I think an interesting evolution that's happened is, I think there was an expectation at some point that global logistics would essentially be something, sort of a platform that became this self-service platform that the end customer would end up sort of managing themselves almost. This idea that forwarders were sort of not a core part of global logistics over time from a management perspective. I think that's proven to be incorrect, mostly because shippers don't want to not have forwarders. They want that partner to work with. I think what's changed is the opacity. And I'm getting to the answer to your question, William. I just wanted to provide some background. I think the opacity that was sort of built into the model for very many years, that's what's changed. So it's not that shippers don't want forwarders to work with. It's just they want everything that forwarders do to be a bit more transparent, or a lot more transparent than maybe it has been historically. And that's where the technology comes into play, and it can be a risk in that if your customer can see more of what you are doing for them on the background, if what you are doing is not efficient, if what you are doing is problematic in some way, it's not just enough to deliver. They want to know how you're delivering. And so I think the risk comes in assuming that this new evolution that we're moving to is going to be no different as a forwarder, is going to be no different than what it was before, when it's going to be quite different. You as a forwarder have to be very transparent and very upfront about who you interact with and where you're getting data from and the decisions you make on behalf of your customer in a way that you maybe didn't have to historically. So as long as you're set up in a way to provide that transparency and you're confident that the decisions you're making based on the data and the partners that you have are strong, I don't think you have anything to worry about. The risk comes if you just don't view the world as having changed from a transparency perspective.
Lionel, on your
That's
side,
right. I mean,
how do you manage it?
Yeah, transparency is really a key point here, because in the past, I mean, it was the freight forwarders could say, I mean, okay, the container has arrived, but I mean, nobody could check this. Now, I mean, anyway, this is clear. Everybody can have the information in real time, even if they don't have any system. They go anywhere on the web and they find they find the answer. So transparency is for sure what is requesting the customer. Accurate data, real time, and new innovative solutions, IT solutions again, but also transport solutions. Just to give a business case, I mean, this has nearly nothing to do with IT, but at Fracht we realized that we had difficulties to transport transformers in the USA. And crossing the bridges because they were not checked, the resistance. It can be 300, 400 tons sometimes. And what we did then, we built our own rail wagons, in fact. And those wagons are going on the rails, and they can cross the bridges which are on the rails, because those bridges are checked, the resistance. And now we have more than 20 of those wagons. And we are one of the leaders in transporting transformers in the USA, for instance. So this is this kind of innovative solutions. I was talking about the new routes in the north. We can speak about also all the innovation we can make in Africa. We are investing a lot there. For instance, in Lebanon, the port that has been destroyed due to some product. We are now talking to many governments in West Africa to find solutions in order that this cannot happen again in those ports in Africa. All those solutions are solutions that can provide freight forwarders, and those solutions then are managed with the IT system on the customer portal particularly.
Yeah, but if the data is not in the TMS at the end, you cannot show anything. You can show nothing at the end, at the end of the day.
Yeah, of course, the data must be in the TMS. This is the first step, and this is going to.
And how do you make sure that it happens? Having the right data. Do you put some? I don't know. Some freight forwarders are very innovative. They put some challenges. They reward the best office. Incentive best offices.
No, you must train your people, and that's why when I started this discussion, I said the most important for us, and this is our first asset, this is the people that we hire. So we must train the people. We must explain them what is the importance of doing of filling the TMS properly, and then also educate. And that's what I said at the beginning. We are as strong as the weaker of our employees. So we need to train everybody.
Eric,
William, can I just mention one other thing?
Go ahead.
Relevant to what we were talking about. So let's just take an example of ocean freight. I mean, this is an area I tend to focus on a lot, right? So if I was a customer of Fracht in the past, I may have been very comfortable saying, I have cargo to move from point A to point B. I have a very long relationship with you. I trust you implicitly to find the best route for that cargo. I'm not going to specify it has to go on this line, maybe not even a specific port, right? You may have a better solution to get from point A to point B for me. We talked a bit about the sustainability issue. How does that change if I expect Fracht to help me reduce my carbon footprint? All of a sudden, now I need to know which sailing it's going on, because it might need to be on a sailing that's a lot more efficient.
Exactly.
Or the road, I need to shorten the road transport because that's creating more carbon emissions. So that's what I was talking about in terms of the transparency of service needs to be, it's just much more heightened, and it will get more heightened as there's more considerations around that.
Yeah. Lionel, do you want to react on this? No?
No, nothing specific. No.
Okay. I see that we have some questions. That's part of the Q&A now. So the first one of the questions is from Kevin. Do you see machine learning and new technology AI coming into our world? If
Yes.
so, where?
Yeah, well, AI will for sure enter in our tools. For instance, again, choose for a greener route. For instance, all those data will be entered in the system, and the system will provide a solution that is greener, a solution that is different, quicker, greener, and all this can be analyzed in real time thanks to the AI. Also so greener route or different trusted routes. I mean, the customer will choose. He can click what is most important for him, and the AI will provide him the final solution of what he's requesting. So yes, AI will come into our world for sure.
Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually think in the short term, AI is less of a consideration for a forwarder interacting directly with a customer. I think it's much more interesting what is happening in the background. So I look at it this way: if someone gives me a very powerful AI tool, I can maybe get 5% of the total value out of it because I'm not a programmer. I don't really know what to ask, how to ask it. But if I put that same tool in the hands of someone who is a software engineer, they are going to extract, if not 100%, much more than I can. So I think about it in terms of, can software be developed more quickly? Can data be cleaned more quickly? Can the right data be surfaced more quickly? Are we going to see, product and feature iterations happen more quickly because these tools in the hands of people who know how to use them are even more powerful than they are in the consumer? I think it's become very popular to talk about the consumer aspect of AI, but really it's much more powerful in the hands of people who know what they're doing with it, I think. So I think that will be the first manifestation. And then down the road, we will see, because of that as a foundation, we will start to see things like what Lionel was talking about, where surfaces suggestions or recommendations for a consumer, and they're able to prompt it in a way that helps them do their job better.
Interesting. And maybe we have another question linked to this topic. Maybe it could help. Johannes said that the customers, we need the forwarders or the 3PLs to analyze their data for them, to make, maybe to help them to take decisions or to put everything together, connecting with the ERP, WMS, checking the stock. For instance, if you push an ETA and you know that there will be some delays and you will run out of stock, and then you have a near warehouse to the customers, and maybe this warehouse can fulfill the end customers. Do you think that it will come? But it's much more 4PL job, right? I don't know.
Yeah, it's on the background. Yes, I mean, honestly, right now we are testing the AI to accelerate the solutions, but we could not find direct productivity in it. But I mean, it's coming. It's. I think it's not a short way. This AI in our company anyway right now.
Yeah. And do you think that client is requesting also to analyze their own data to help them take decisions today? This is
I'm
more,
not sure yet they are mature
yeah.
enough on this. It will come. I'm pretty sure, but yet I'm not sure.
Okay.
On 4PL maybe more, William, because I mean it's they are more mature on 4PL, and we can analyze the way their shipments are handled and the big volumes. Because they are big volumes, AI can have a real advantage. But I would say it concerns really a small part of our operations right now.
Mhm. And Eric, when you do the kind of interview with freight forwarders, do you think that this is something that they are considering in terms of new digital journey, new way to think also? Because you need to hire maybe different people as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Lionel's right. I think ultimately this could be an area where forwarders could provide strong sort of consultative services. If anything, it's sort of it makes what Lionel talked about in terms of investing in people all the more important, right? I think every industry is suffering from a lack of data scientists and data analytics experts. So I can absolutely see already shippers have too much data and they don't really know how to make sense of it and what's important and what they should be focusing on and what they don't need to be getting. So I think there are definitely some forwarders who are assisting with that, but that's not been a primary focus for forwarders. Going forward, potentially yes. Potentially as some of the things that have been harder for forwarders to offer from a service perspective get easier with technology, with automation, then more of the work will be done in helping them navigate all of the different data that they're basically trying to make sense of. But I'm not yet. I think everybody is still struggling with shipper, forwarder, carrier, ports. Everybody is struggling with getting enough talent, getting the right systems. It's not just shippers that are struggling with too much data. I think everybody is right now.
Yeah. It's information that shippers need, no data and
That's
expertise. Maybe before closing this webinar, maybe I will ask one last question to you, Lionel, and to you, Eric. What is your best advice, tips to tackle challenges with the customers, with the digital enablers? Or what are the different things that should be considered while entering this kind of journey? Yeah, maybe start with you, Lionel.
I can talk for Fracht because you have different freight forwarding company. We have seen a concentration in our industry the last 2-3 years, and Fracht is not among I would say the five biggest in the world, and we have our seat at the table because we are focusing essentially on our people again. This is what is the most important for us, and the relation we have with the customer. We keep the relation. We can see some the first or second biggest shipping line, particularly during COVID. They really cut the relation with the customer and put everything in the system. They nearly fired all their salespeople, and it has damaged a lot the relations they had with their customers, also with the freight forwarding companies. And after the COVID, when the situation changed, they realized they did a mistake, I think. They had plenty of money in the pockets, so that's a small mistake at the end. But they came back, and they came back to discuss. So the most important advice, I would say, for a freight forwarding company is to keep the contact the physical contact with this customer, and then listen what the customer needs really, because for sure what he doesn't need is to talk only to a machine. So let's talk to him, see what he needs, and then keep the relation, and also go to the restaurant with him.
Eric, on your side?
Yeah, I think this gets back to what we sort of started the conversation with is you have to obviously identify where you want to put investment from a technology perspective, but you also have to look internally and say, what are we actually capable of building versus what's on the market? And it's very easy to say, and I've written this a lot, there's every type of solution on the market, right? It's very easy to just say, take your shopping cart to the software supermarket and pick this off the shelf and this off the shelf and say, oh, now we haven't had to build anything. We've taken all the cool things that are out there. It's hard to make them work well, which is why I think you still see a lot of forwarders, building their own software or at least some aspect of their own software that's built around their business, which makes a lot of sense. But you really need to ask yourself, and very carefully, what you're capable of building and maintaining and updating versus what you are able to buy off the shelf and actually get the full value of. Because I've certainly talked to a lot of forwarders over the last few years who have tried things and they've not worked out, but at least they went out and they figured out what didn't work out and what did work out for them. So it's none of this is easy. The other thing I will say, in terms of going out and trying things that are in the market that are not proprietary, is we should never, ever, ever think that 10 forwarders buying the same piece of software makes them the same forwarder. That notion should be gone, right? If I buy the same shoes that LeBron James or Leo Messi wears, I'm not going to be the same player as the two of them, right? So that we should forget about that. It should not be about commoditizing. Software is not a commoditizing factor. It should be about whether you have the ability to make the best use of the software. So
with the value proposition that you will leverage with the data at the end, with the service that you are building. Yeah, that's the nice final words, to be frank. Thank you, Lionel. Thank you, Eric, for talking today, sharing your expertise and experiences on Fracht and GOC. Thank you to all attendees. I hope you enjoy this talk. And then, if you want to get more information, you can upload our ebook, and you can reach out to Wakeo at hello@wakeo.co. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, William. Thank you, Eric. Thanks to the audience.
Bye-bye.
Bye.